Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode of our 4th Age Rhovanion campaign, and things are feeling a little desperate here as we have just begun a war with the Dunabar on our western flank, and we have not had time to see to North Rune on our northeastern flank. And of course the borders between us and North Rune are very irregular as a result of our conquests and the fact that we've gifted them some territory at various points in the campaign. I'm thinking about trying to resolve this issue diplomatically, though. So let's see if we can get an emissary to make that happen. What I would like to do is I would like to throw a bunch of money at you guys in exchange for a couple of settlements. In particular, I'd like Gargal, and I would like Fennis Rim. Now, the others you can keep. I can't ask for their capital, Fornhud. Gwaithring is the far northern one. I believe. Yes. Yarhelkar is just on the coast of the Sea of Rune on the northern end, and Hythe is on the island. I don't really want those yet, and in fact I don't want to reduce North Rune completely to just one or two settlements, because they do have a pretty large military, and my concern is that with all of those military troops, the AI will be desperate to use them somewhere, and that would result in them using them on me. Now, one problem is that they do share a border with Dale at this fort, this tiny fort you can just see on the edge here, the Fort of Karnan. And if I take the settlement that is near that, that may result in them attacking me. I'm kind of thinking, though, at this point in the game, we need to risk that. And so what I'm going to do is, for those two settlements, let's see, I've got 179,000 Mirian in the bank. I'm doing pretty good. So how about I give you 70,000 for those two settlements, and we'll see how that goes. Fantastic. We've got a couple of settlements here from North Rune. I probably didn't need to spend that much money on those, but this will regularize my borders. And if we take a look at that, we've got Gargal now right here, so we don't have to worry about North Rune attacking Rathwin or Beligant down here. We do have to worry about Fornhud, Yarhelkar, and Gwaithring potentially attacking Thordram, Raycoast, but Fennis Rim is now safe. Now, what we'll probably see happen over the next couple of turns is these armies moving away back to their homeland, and that'll be very nice to see them get off our land. Now that we've got these settlements, let's see what we can destroy here. Yep, we can get rid of these mustering fields, so that's 2,000 back. Execution Square gives us another 1,000. Everything else I think I want to keep. And in Gargal, it's probably much the same. In fact, they went all the way up to Hosting Hall, so that's 3,000. And yeah, we'll get another Execution Square out of that. They've already built some roads here. They've built a lot of things for us. So I am pretty happy with that. This also means that now we don't really need to worry about taking the Fort of Karnan. We've been holding off on that because it puts us at a border with North Rune. Well, now we may as well go for it and grab it. So let's get the men out of here. We've got a single general here. May as well bring him up. Now here we've got an army of Dale. I think it might be 3 family members or something. Let's bring out everybody from this settlement that we can possibly spare who might be useful. So you see what that looks like for public order. That's not looking very good. Alright, how about one of you can go back? 65, still not good enough. What do we have in here? General, Barding Militia, Hearthman of Dale, and this is the king. Yeah, I think we want those guys to be there in the settlement. So we've got all ranged guys. We'll move them off into the east and hope that they're enough to deal with this. We take this, and then that leaves Dale with only one settlement, which is Gundabad Fortress. So I do have a potential plan for that. Remember, we were holding off taking this because a Dunabar was potentially threatening it. And if we took this, then a Dunabar would be able to attack us this way. I'm still concerned about that possibility, but I do have a plan. The Bjornings, though, I unfortunately do not have much of a plan. We do have some men coming down from Dale This is kind of a ragtag bunch, though. We've got some Rhovanion hunters, some foresters, a single unit of longbowmen, and just some other light assorted spears and cav. We'll bring them down here towards Hjorth, I guess, but this is a very, very large army with 3 family members and a bunch of good stuff. We're not going to be able to hold on to Holt, and I think we need to keep pressing Adunabar, to be honest. So we've got an army here just south of Thrimfeld, which we will be able to move down towards Mid-Deeping fairly soon. We're desperately training stuff at Rhovanost, and we are moving these troops from the Rhovanion front over into the west. This is a very nice full stack, I think, and so we should be pretty good once that gets here. But I'm thinking we're probably going to lose Lithmore Chant before then, unfortunately. Let's see what we have for other troops. We've got some of these guys. I guess we could send them down here. And let's split them up, just so the cav has a better chance of getting places. And we'll do the same with these foresters. In the south, we're sending some men towards Londnernen in a bid to capture that, as it's pretty undefended. And in Athrad Morn, our spy is doing some good work. We're at 50% public order here, and there are signs of rebellion. With luck, this will revolt in a little while here, and then, well, then we'll just have easier pickings. We'll have a little bit less to worry about with regards to where Adunabar is going to attack us. I think at this point we are good to end the season, so let's do that. Very good news. We've got the rebels kicking Adunabar out of Athrad Morn, and this is not a fantastic army, of course. They've got, what's their ringleader? Yeah, this would be a unit of medium cav with a bunch of very light men of Mordor. Nothing special, but enough to make a problem for Adunabar. So I think we can get our spy out of here now. It's going to be a little while before Adunabar takes that back, and it'll be nice to see what they have in the area here. Okay, I am seeing a Haradrian army just outside of Londonern, and that may complicate things. And we have an Adunabar army here, looking like they're going towards Rune. I don't know what that's about, and I hope they're not going to actually attack it. Interesting that Dale and North Rune have signed a ceasefire, but that probably won't last, as they are certainly, well, North Rune is still at war with the dwarves. And yes, we lost a lot of money last season. We are having some rogue problems up here. Restoring these buildings, though, is incredibly expensive, as you can see. 18,000 to restore the King's Feasts, 16,000 to restore the market. That's because we have not built our own dominion here. We're still using Dale's homeland dominion at Framsburg. You can technically build things without your own homeland dominion, but it's prohibitively expensive. So, it's like I could go ahead and build control posts. It takes 10 seasons and 6,000, Mirian. So it's certainly a terrible idea to do that. You definitely want to do with your homeland dominion stuff first. The knock-on effect is, of course, as long as your own dominion is not in place, these repairs are also going to be correspondingly prohibitively expensive. Okay, we do see some Bjorning armies going north. There are 2 of them. So I think what we want to do is we need to decide now, are we going to hold Framsburg, or are we just going to get out of here? I could destroy these buildings and still get, I think, full price for them back. We're up to now 25 provinces controlled as a result of those diplomatic deals that we did. I'd like to keep going. I'd like to not lose these settlements that I've conquered. I think I could set myself up on the ford in such a way that I'd be able to face these armies one at a time. The question is, would I be able to actually beat them, even if I did that? We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 full units of archers in this army. So, I think I may try that. It's going to be a really bloody fight, but I think it might be something worth attempting. We can at least bleed the Bjornings dry as much as possible. Now, I guess they could get here with both stacks, but let's just hope they don't, eh? Alright, here we're moving our losing general over towards Dale. We're just going to go and move in some men that can be retrained here. And I think that's going to be these longbowmen mercenaries, these retainer longbowmen. We can retrain the Rhovanion scouts and the foresters, I believe, and that's it. Let's get those guys all queued up. And we're training more longbowmen as well. Let's move this general. Well, let's move him inside the settlement too. Next season we can move him out through, and he can send his men down towards Rhovanost or Belligant to retrain these March Wardens or Rhovanion Watch, respectively. We were not attacked anywhere else, and in fact this Adunabar army seems to have moved off, which is great news. Not expecting that. Alright, we do have mountain guards, and I was bringing them down and around to deal with Adunabar, so we'll keep that up. And we've got these 3 units of vassal axemen that we're going to use. Glad to see that Adunabar is just sticking around there, not doing anything. So we'll send these guys back up to get retrained. I think you are just going to hang out at Adel. Alright, and as for our larger army, let's see, we've got some Rhovanion foresters who can kind of scout ahead and just get line of sight established. Yeah, so here's the Haradrian host. Now let's check our diplomacy to see if they're allied with Adunabar. They are not, so if I besiege Lond Nurnin, they're not going to have anything to say about that. Let's see, could I ally with them? Harad, where are you? You're at war with all these factions, none of them are my allies. Let's see if I have an emissary anywhere. Okay, I've got you. If I get you as an ally, I'm going to pay a bunch of money for that. Because I see potentially an opportunity. Let's give you a bunch of cash. 5,000 gold for an alliance. Are you interested in that? Yes, they are. So what this means is that if we assault Lon Nurnin and they stick around here, we're going to drag them into our war with Adunabar, which would be wonderful news. All right, and since we're spending money, let's continue to do so with these couple of units right here. I'm going to set up right next to my new buddies, the men of Harad. Ooh, and we've got a couple more Blackland mercenaries just as a backup. We'll go ahead and put this army under siege. And if we're counterattacked by Adunabar, then Harad should show up as allies in this fight. So let's go ahead and build a couple of siege towers, a ram, and as many ladders as we can. And then we'll see what they're going to do. This settlement is not under siege currently, which means the army is probably moving off somewhere else. So that's just fine. I do want to keep an eye on Khand. I don't know where they've gotten to. Okay. They're headed back westward. I would like them to cause some problems. But it looks like they may have already been fighting some battles by the sort of under-strength indication of these banners. This is the only full army in terms of numbers. These guys, they've got a lot of units, but yeah, look, 17 men, 4 men. So some of these guys have been through some combat with Harad. So they're fighting battles that we're just not seeing. And they're probably not going to do too well. Alright, we're now at the point where we're losing cash, but here go the North Rune armies back into their homelands, and as long as they don't adopt an aggressive posture against us, then I'm feeling great about that. Now let's do a quick cruise around, and I just want to see if I can afford to do any building of Dominion stuff, because we have a lot of settlements now that are not ready for Homeland Dominion. And yes, Thrimfeld. We've got 1 season left. We'll have the Outland Dominion done for that. And then we can afford to destroy one of these other Dominion buildings elsewhere and, you know, start building our own. So let's get our men moved off into the west. We've got these couple of forces here, just kind of moving them. And it looks like Adunabar's gathering forces for a big clash around Rhovanost. That should be properly epic. So I am looking forward to that. Alright, this is looking respectable around Lithmore Chant. although I'm not sure if we'll be able to hold out against whatever they're going to throw at us in Rhovanion. Well, we can retrain all of these guys because apparently... Oh, that's right. We had used them in the last fight. Well, then why didn't they auto-retrain? I'm a little confused about this. But let's go ahead and queue them all up. Or maybe I moved them in. Let's check the population now. Okay, we got plenty of population here. This is great. All right, let's do some of this merging so that we don't end up... Okay, there we go. And now we've still got room to queue up another unit. And what do I want here? We've got a couple of mountain guards in the settlement. We've got 2 archers, it looks like, so I may want another one. But probably light cav. You just can't go wrong with them as Rhovanion. So we'll bring them down. We've got another unit of light cav here. Let's put that just outside here to help these reinforcing guys. And then let's bring him down. See, the problem is that these armies are led by family members, and so as a result, they've got pretty large movement point allowances. Although this looks like an army of just infantry, just dark swords. This one looks a little more worrisome with some shadow riders. So I want to move in such a way that both of these armies can't hit me, but that might not be possible. Let's move off into the trees here and see if they see us. And then we'll go from there. Looks like Dulland is moving up towards Woldburg to try to deal with that. But Rohan has done surprisingly well, staying alive as long as they have. And we're under siege in Rhovanion. Unsurprisingly, this is kind of good because it allows us to attack this army with our reinforcing host without worrying about the reinforcements of Adunabar showing up. So I think we'll fight that. And they've got a good mix of units with some cavalry, some archers, some orcs, and some heavier infantry. So let's queue that right up. The only problem here is we do have this this family member potentially showing up as reinforcements. I don't want them to have independent command on the battlefield, so if I can uncheck that box, even if it means they don't show up as reinforcements at all, it would be nice to prevent losing a bunch of troops needlessly. Alright, Runefast of Bray Gestalati. Seasoned-looking commander, at least in terms of age. We've got our macemen all the way in the front, so I think that's great, actually. We'll move them even further forward. There's not too many archers, and I think our own guys are going to be pretty strong against arrow fire. That said, we do want the slingers out front, and probably to the side. Alright, they're deployed right in front of us. So we'll just move up. Our own reinforcements are showing up over here. It looks like they are going to be under AI control regardless. Although they are waiting to enter the battle, so maybe they won't show up. That would be just fine with me. I'd like to preserve that army. We're slowly building that up so that it can be a force that can deal with the other stacks of Adunabar that are in the area. We're seeing that the range on the dark bows is actually better than what we have for our frontline archers. It's a combination, a combination of their better range and probably that hillside deployment. But now we can get them. And if they want to trade shots with our slingers, then so be it. Two more units of dark bows. And here come the Orc Champions and some Swords of the Shadow. Those guys will be good fodder for our Longbowmen, who I would like to focus on the Champions. These Swords of the Shadow I could hit with the Mountain Guards. But the Orc Champions we want to shoot down. Those are a very dangerous unit. Armor-piercing battle axes, war cry. So shoot them down as much as we can and charge them with our light cav. That'll be the plan for these. If they come on, which they certainly don't appear to be doing. Swords of the Shadow, though, we can get a good charge on them. Bring a couple cav out around. They're losing heavily, shaken. Yep, we're doing great against them. Is that army going to withdraw? It looks like it will. Well, let's hit him here. And let's bring our other cavalry out and around. See what we can kill on the way out. We can at least take those Orc Champions. Oh, and maybe we can get some bowmen or something, although it looks like they're moving away pretty quickly. Yeah, this is the end of the map, so it doesn't look like we'll be able to do too much. Maybe we could shock a single unit of these dark bows. They've also got swords in and amongst them here. We're getting some kills with our javelins anyway. Oh great, we did get a rout of those dark bows, so we'll get rid of that unit. A very dangerous unit, despite the fact that it's only a second tier barracks unit, but it's a good all-rounder. Very important for Adunabar. Alright, so we did very well there. Of course, it wasn't a very decisive victory, but we walked out of it with a lot of men left. Alright, and now our army is right near Rhovanost, in a great position to attack this army. And we've got just about enough men to make another stack, which I may want to bring down south. We don't have any family members here yet, so that is a bit of a concern. This guy's such a good governor that I think we want to leave him here. Let's queue up another March Wardens. It'll take 2 seasons, but I think we can afford to do it. I think we have to do it. We'll bring these guys down south. We want to try to defend Lithmore Chant and move east towards Austin Agar-Lad. See, now that Adunabar has moved well into Gondor and is essentially fighting for this territory with Dunland, we're going to potentially see a lot of their forces tied up in this theater. So that's the hope. See, I think inside the settlement we do want to leave the general and another unit. Probably these spearmen are going to be the least useful thing. So we'll bring you guys down as far as you can get, and that's just enough for these cav to show up as well. And yeah, we can move those foresters. Now we've got just about a full stack. Move you guys inside the city, and this host looks like even numbers. Now they could probably still beat us quite handily, but hopefully now we're close enough to take them out in a couple of turns. Let's go ahead and train some more stuff though, because we want to make sure we're still keeping up the pressure. Now with this army inside Dale, we could do a couple of different things. One move would be to move them down south and deal with Holt. So that's kind of what I think I want to do. We'll take the Rhovanion Watch and send them separately. It's literally 2 men. We'll send them back towards Belligant. The March Wardens will send them out as well. And basically what we have now is essentially a skirmish army. We've got the general here, back the hunter, and we're going to take all the archers out of here that we possibly can. All the ranged troops. Move them out here, and yeah, it's probably time to recruit longbowmen mercenaries. And we'll go ahead and merge these 2 groups together. Let's see if we can find that full stack of the Bjornings. They're probably somewhere right around here. On the off chance that they moved back, though, let's see. Nope. So they've got to be somewhere right around here. So what we want to do is eventually they'll attack Holt, and we'll counterattack them, and we should have ranged superiority to deal with that fight. All right, we've got a bunch of wars. Nothing new, unfortunately. Dunland supposedly owns the Reunited Kingdom, but that's not going to last. And Adunabar also owns the Reunited Kingdom. Again, neither of those situations are going to remain because both of those factions are still at war with Rohan. Yeah, let's go with another Rhovanion Watch. And Thrimfeld is done, so which settlement do we want to build up? Let's see, I think we've got Thordram already set, yeah. So we might want something... I just don't know if we can hold Framsburg is the problem. So queuing up an Outland Dominion there seems like a kind of a waste. I think we should be able to hold Gargal. So let's do it here. Get rid of this, go for provincial pacification, and let's see how bad the public order has hurt us. And so far, it's looking quite good. We got that agent out of Framsburg, very nice. And we dealt with the siege outside of Rhovanost. I think it's still a little too early to move this army. We've got them in an ambush position, that's just fine. We want to get rid of some of these other stacks before we feel strong enough to move it down to mid-deeping. We're also going to move this army over. To help with that, we'll have basically two full stacks operating in the region. And this is a nice kind of central choke point. Once we have this all set, we'll take Lathron, we'll take this. And if we can kind of hold off here, we should be close to the end. Let's keep moving our men around. With regards to Dale, I am going to risk this, I think. Well, okay, here's the thing. I don't want to eliminate the faction. They've only got family members here and here. Of course, they have Gundabad way over here. I don't want to necessarily fight both of these armies because there's a lot of family members here that could wipe out this army. But I think we can risk it. We'll go ahead and build a siege tower and a ladder and see if we can get to the point where we can get up on the wall and then deal with what's inside. If we get attacked from the behind, though, that could be a problem for us. Down here, though, Lond Nurnin, sadly, the Haradrim have moved away from the army. So I think we're just going to go ahead and queue up the assault. Before doing that, though, we may, because there's two Blackland mercenaries here who would be awesome for an assault fight. So I'm going to go ahead and swap out a couple of light cav. We'll get rid of these mercenaries. We'll get rid of these Rhovanion scouts. They'll just stand a tile away. And we will recruit these very heavy, very strong infantry units. 37 defense, 18 attack, shield wall, reasonable morale. Those guys are going to be going over the walls. And that's what we're going to see in the next episode, folks. We're going to assault Lond Nurnin. Let's see what the reinforcements look like. Inside the settlement, two very elite Swords of the Shadow units. so they'll be tough to deal with. And coming in as reinforcements, unit of dark swords, unit of dark bows shouldn't be a problem, but I think I will show this fight. It'll just be a little interesting to see a Dunedainic settlement assault. I don't think we've seen that yet, and that should be good. Once we take Londonurnin, then we've really got an interesting position carved out for ourselves. Our next move is probably going to be to take this, but it's going to be difficult to hold on to Londonurnin with the units we have in the area, but we'll see how it goes. Thank you very much for joining me in this episode, folks, and I hope you'll stick around for the next one. I can see our campaign winding down, and I'm really looking forward to it. Until then, take care.